Once upon a time, in a quaint little town nestled between the rolling hills and whispering forests, Halloween was the most awaited night of the year. The air was crisp with the scent of autumn leaves, and the moon hung high, casting ghostly glows across the cobblestone streets. In this town, there lived a boy named Leo. Leo was a curious 12-year-old with a love for the mysteries of Halloween. His friend Sophie equally shared his enthusiasm for the eerie and the unknown. This particular Halloween, they decided to venture out to the old, abandoned mansion at the edge of town, rumored to be haunted by the ghost of a cantankerous old man known as Mr. Whitaker. As twilight descended, Leo and Sophie donned their costumes, a vampire and a witch, and set off towards the mansion. The path was lined with tall, shadowy trees, and the wind howled softly through the branches, making the leaves rustle like whispers of spirits. When they reached the mansion's iron gate, it screeched open with an eerie groan. The once splendid house lay shrouded in darkness, its tall windows like staring eyes. "Do you think it's really haunted?" Sophie asked, her voice trembling slightly. "There's only one way to find out," Leo replied bravely, though his heart thumped like a drum. They tiptoed inside, the floors creaking beneath their feet. Cobwebs hung in the corners, and a cold draft blew through the corridors. They clutched hands. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the hallway. Leo jumped when he discovered his costume turned to skeleton costume. Led by sheer curiosity and a shared sense of adventure, they moved further inside. They noticed something strange moving slowly across the dusty room. "Did you see that?" whispered Sophie, her eyes wide with fear. They all had, and an undeniable chill ran down their spines. Determined to uncover the truth, they crept closer. The silhouette became clearer. It was a spectral figure with a long, flowing coat and an old-fashioned hat, gliding silently. "I think it's Mr. Whitaker," Leo whispered, recalling the legends they had heard. The ghost suddenly turned towards them, its eyes glowing like embers. Before they could react, the ghost spoke in a deep, echoing voice, "Who dares to intrude upon my solitude?" The children stood frozen, unsure whether to run or stay. Then, to their surprise, the ghost let out a hearty laugh. "Fear not, young adventurers, for I mean no harm," said Mr. Whitaker's spirit, his demeanor softening. "I merely wish to share the stories of this house. It's been too long since anyone visited." Relieved, Leo and Sophie listened as the ghost told tales of his life and how he had built the mansion over a century ago. He spoke of lost loves, great parties, and his yearning for solitude in the afterlife. The night passed with the ghost regaling them with stories, and as dawn neared, they thanked Mr. Whitaker for his stories and ventured back home, promising to return. From that Halloween on, Leo and Sophie always visited the mansion, where the stories of Mr. Whitaker made them not only tremble at first but also smile as they learned more about the intriguing past of their little town. As they went to bed that night, their hearts were filled with the thrilling memories of an extraordinary Halloween adventure, and they knew it would be a tale they'd recount every Halloween for years to come.
Every Halloween, the small town of Ravenswood transformed into a scene from an old horror film. Jack-o'-lanterns flickered on every doorstep, and a cold wind rustled through the withering trees. Children in costumes roamed the streets, their laughter mingling with the eerie howls of the night. But hidden beneath the festive atmosphere was an old secret that only a few dared to whisper about. It was said that the ghost of Eleanor Thorne haunted Ravenswood every Halloween. Eleanor Thorne had been a young woman with a kind heart and a gentle spirit, loved by everyone in the town. She was engaged to Edward, a charming young man who had recently moved to Ravenswood. However, on the night before their wedding, Eleanor disappeared without a trace. Distraught, Edward searched tirelessly but found no clues. The town's whispers grew louder, suggesting she had run away or met with foul play. As the years passed, the story of Eleanor Thorne faded into legend, until one fateful Halloween night. On that evening, a curious young boy named Sam discovered an old, dust-covered diary in his attic. It belonged to his great-grandmother, one of Eleanor's closest friends. Intrigued, he began to read. The diary entries revealed that Eleanor had uncovered a dark secret about Edward. He was not the man he claimed to be. Edward was actually a practitioner of dark magic, seeking to sacrifice Eleanor to gain eternal life. Eleanor had written about her plan to confront Edward and expose his true nature. Realizing he was in grave danger, Sam decided to investigate further. That night he gathered his friend Emma, and they set off to find the abandoned Thorne mansion, where the final confrontation had supposedly taken place. Inside they discovered a hidden basement, filled with eerie symbols and ancient books. Among the cobwebs and debris, Sam found a dusty old mirror. Suddenly, a ghostly figure appeared in the reflection. It was Eleanor. Her sad eyes bored into Sam as she silently pointed to an old, tattered book on a nearby shelf. The children opened the book and realized it contained a spell to free Eleanor's spirit. Mustering their courage, they recited the incantation. As the last words echoed through the mansion, a powerful gust of wind swept through the room. The ghostly figure of Eleanor began to fade, her face softening into a grateful smile. Just as she disappeared, the children heard a sinister voice behind them. It was Edward, his eyes burning with malevolent intent. Frightened but determined, Sam and Emmy used the knowledge they'd gained from the diary and the spellbook to fight back. In a fierce battle of wills, they managed to break Edward's dark enchantment, banishing him into the depths of the underworld. Exhausted but victorious, the children returned to the town, carrying with them the truth of Eleanor Thorne. From that Halloween on, Ravenswood celebrated not just with costumes and candies, but with a newfound respect for the bravery and sacrifice that had once been made to protect their home.
Once upon a time in a vibrant pumpkin patch, there was a little pumpkin named Pippin. Unlike the other pumpkins who dreamed of becoming pies or decorations, Pippin had a different dream. He wanted to be the brightest, most colorful pumpkin in the annual Halloween parade. Every year, the best pumpkins were transformed with stunning patterns and vivid colors for the parade. He spent his days basking in the sunlight, hoping to develop the brightest hue. Pippin watched in awe as artists painted pumpkins in dazzling colors, always hoping that one day he would be chosen. This year, Pippin was determined. But Pippin didn't give up. His friends laughed, thinking it was a funny dream. He believed that with perseverance, anything was possible. As Halloween approached, an artist named Lily came to the patch. She noticed Pippin right away, drawn by his natural glow and spirited personality. "This one is perfect," she exclaimed, picking him up gently. Lily took Pippin to her workshop, where she turned him into a canvas of bright oranges, yellows, and greens. She painted intricate designs, making him stand out like a star. Pippin could hardly contain his excitement. It was a dream come true. On the night of the parade, as he was placed on a float, Pippin glowed brightly under the moonlight. The children in the crowd cheered and pointed, enchanted by his colorful transformation. Pippin beamed with pride, knowing he had become exactly what he had always wanted, the brightest pumpkin in the parade. From that night on, Pippin's story was told in every corner of the pumpkin patch, a tale of a little pumpkin with a big heart and even bigger dreams. And every Halloween, Pippin's journey would inspire young pumpkins to dream big and shine bright.